always great having Damon Jackson on the show, who will be fighting next April the 6th at UFC Vegas 90 when he takes on Alexander Hernandez. Damon, how are you?
Doing good, man. How you been?
I've been doing fantastic. It's nice to have you back on. Another exciting fight, man. This one with Alex Hernandez. What was your initial thoughts here when you first heard the matchup?
Yeah, I actually we almost fought years ago back in LFA. So it was like right whenever I just got released from the UFC and Alex was on his way to the UFC and they were basically like saying that we should fight and then fight for the fight for fight Leonard Garcia, whatever. It was like there was just a big toss up and it was either one of us was gonna fight for the title and one of us didn't. And I ended up fighting and I went to UFC and then he got in right after me and then we just barely missed each other. And then, it's just been, I've always watched his fights because he's always a tough dude, and he's always, got some exciting fights for sure. But yeah, I mean, I was excited for sure.
Yeah, and again, I mean, you know the guy, obviously tons of tape on him. When you look at the matchup, how do you like it for yourself? Is this a good matchup for you?
Yeah, I think it's a great matchup for the fans too. I think it's gonna be one of those scraps. It's definitely he's a tough dude. He's fought some of the toughest guys out there. So it's definitely you can't look at it and say, oh, this guy's a scrub or something like that. Like he's a tough dude. He's been tested by some of the best guys in there, and definitely a tough fight. But ready to go.
He's got a 500 record in the UFC. He does have six TKO or KO victories, so you know he's got a lot of power. Is that where you just have to be the most cautious with him on the feet? Just look out for that big shot.
Yeah, I think honestly, man, it's like I don't walk in the fights thinking I'm gonna get knocked out. It's not something I. It doesn't happen in practice. I don't fear that, but I know he has that potential to come out heavy and swing heavy in the first round, and going into the second, third, I feel like he kind of calms down a little bit. So definitely something I've worked on and I've kept an eye out for. But I'll be ready to go for that boxing, the stand up stuff, and then everything on the ground. I feel comfortable there. So.
Uh, Common opponent, very recent common opponent for you, Billy Q. And actually, Billy Q finished him when they fought.
Yeah.
When you look at the stylistic matchups between those two and you and Billy, I know MMA math doesn't always equal out to something that makes sense,
Yeah.
but did you pick up anything watching that fight that he had with Billy?
I think you also have to contribute his performance a little bit towards his. That was his initial cut down to 45. So I think that there's a lot that plays into that because that was the first time he ever cut down. So I know that he's not. I know he's not going to get finished every fight in the second or third, but I think that he definitely fades out just because of his style. But when you look at that, it kind of gives you a little bit of positive outlook on it. But it's like for me, like with the Billy fight, I feel like I should have won that fight. I feel like I did win the fight. Honestly, like looking back at that fight, I really feel like I won the first and the third. I know I had a really bad second, and I don't know what happened to my body. It just like shut down in the second. It was so freaking weird. But honestly, like that wasn't my best performance, and I know that probably wasn't his best performance. So, I take it with a grain of salt, but I know he's gonna be ready to go. I know that he's been making the weight cut now a few more times, and I think that he'll be his performance is gonna be a lot better. You know.
We'll circle back to this matchup with Hernandez before we sign off here today, but we're talking a little bit about Billy Q. I thought you were going to get him out of there in the first round, man. You had him
I
hurt.
know.
Looking back on it, do you feel like maybe if you stepped on the gas a little bit more, is there anything that you feel like you could have done differently to get him out of there?
Yeah, I kind of wish I would have went more aggressive for the renegade choke when I had his back. As far as like on the feet and stuff like that, like I had been really, really, really changing my style up. And it makes me feel confident to just go in there and throw down because I'm like, if someone wants to take me down, like if I'm on the ground on the if I'm on my back or if I'm on top of someone, like I don't care. Like I'll grapple with anyone. And so that gives me a lot of confidence. And for that fight, man, I felt so confident with the stand up, and then I ended up, trying to wrestle because I felt like I was getting tired. I don't know what happened, and then, just really frustrating performance. So I felt like, I was definitely winning the stand up battle, and then, something happened to my body, and just, tanked. I don't know what happened, but yeah, I mean, definitely frustrated. I wish I would, could run that one back for sure.
Yeah, I was just going to say if the stars align and you get an opportunity
Yeah.
to run it back, you're jumping at it.
Oh yeah, no, I would love to fight him, and I would love to fight Danny again. I can't call out Ilya right now, but I would like to fight all my losses again. You know, like the Yancy Medeiros, I would smoke him now. The Mavzar, whatever his name is in PFL, I would love to fight that kid. He hasn't done anything since I fought him. That was his one big highlight. So it's like all my losses. Kevin Aguilar is no longer in the UFC. So like all my losses, I would love to run it back, but you know, it is what it is. I don't really think about them a whole lot. But I'll be ready for this fight for sure. I'm excited, man.
One thing that I found peculiar, the fight card that you fought Billy on, Dana gave performance of the
Bro,
night bonuses to everyone that got a finish, but you guys
don't
didn't
even
get.
get me amped up, dude. Don't even get me started.
Okay,
I was like, no way. We're 100%. Like, I was like, yeah, maybe I got a loss, but I got 50 G's for sure. You know, and like I kept waiting and waiting and waiting, and then they're like, oh, Dana gave out five bonuses, and I'm like, oh, like they're gonna give me something, and then like nothing. They didn't even give out fight of the night. They gave out performance bonuses for everyone that got a finish, and I was like, man, they should have done that, and then they should have also done the fight of the night. And it wasn't like any of those finishes were just mind blowing finishes. They were all like simple finishes. You know, it wasn't anything special. So I feel like our fight was definitely the fan favorite fight, but you know, it is what it is.
are you going to address that at all come fight week? And you get all
Uh,
the cameras there.
nah, I'm doing pretty good. I don't have to sit there and be bitching and moaning about all that stuff. But it's just like the incentive to get that every fight. It's always like in the back of my head, because when you're doing this sport, it's kind of like you're all in during fight camp, so you lose a lot financially and mentally, and it's such it's a good feeling to get that extra little like good job kind of thing, and that incentive is always there for me. I want to look for I have I think I have 19 like 22 wins and 19 finishes or something like that. So like I go in to finish fights. I'm not looking to get decisions. I don't like that. Even when they were announcing my decision, I thought I won. Like I legit thought I won that fight. And so when they said his name, I was like, what? Like what the fuck? It's so frustrating. But it is what it is, man.
Did you like fighting in Nashville? What was the crowd like?
Oh man, I would fucking fight in Nashville every time. That that's the that's like one of the only places I've went where I'm like, man, I want to go back there, not during fight camp, just just let loose. So I'm gonna go there. I opened my gym last June, and I've been so busy with that, I haven't really taken any trips. And but that's normally when I take a trip, I have to have an ocean or a beach, and so that would be the only place that I would take a vacation to with no ocean.
Yeah,
So
okay. Yeah.
yeah.
Nashville's a cool spot. I've been there once and I'd have to agree with you. I
Yeah.
can tell by, your Instagram post, it looks like the new gym's going fantastic. You just give me an update on how it's been progressing.
Yeah, man. I've got so many young guys that have been with me since day one there. They started their career with me. And for those guys that have confidence in my training, and then I get to pass on stuff that I know to them and stuff, it's just so cool to watch them grow as athletes and as fighters and stuff. Like fighting is one of those things, it's a very like selfish and goal oriented sport where you gotta kind of like be very selfish with your training, your mindset and everything else. But as a coach, when you get to sit back and like teach people stuff and you see them work through it, and like yeah, they have their own goals and everything, but it's cool to be a part of it and seeing them grow. So we're doing a big UFC 299 watch party this weekend. This place called Chicken and Pickle, and it's one of my good friends. He owns it, and it's such a cool place. But it's just cool to have all those guys together and all their family and all their friends, and like just to see the community that I built with that gym. It's really cool to watch it grow.
That's awesome, man. Congratulations. You mentioned 299. Give me a main event pick. You got O'Malley or Cheeto?
Yeah, I think what was the kid's name that O'Malley beat right before Aljo?
Right before Aljo. Oh, have to
What's his
ask.
name? The Russian dude.
Whew. Well,
I know, man. I just went blank. But it's like when he picked up wow, man, I feel like such an ass. But he picked up a win over him, and I was like, holy crap, that was huge. And then he beats Aljo, and I was like, Aljo's freaking good, man. Aljo's like he's a great wrestler. He's a such a good grappler, and his stamp's pretty damn good. And then for O'Malley to finish him, I was like, damn, like this kid's like he's not just all talk. This is like that's real. That was real. So
Are you talking about
was it
Piotr Jan?
Peter Yan? Yeah, it was
Okay.
Peter Yan. When he beat him, I was like, damn, like that
Yeah.
was huge. And then he started talking shit to him about Aljo, and I was like, man, he's gonna blast W. He's gonna take you down. He's gonna get your back. He's gonna choke you. Like it's a done deal. And then he beats him, and I'm like, oh my god, like this kid's like that's two big wins right there. So I think you got to give him respect. I think the Cheeto fight is a tough fight in a lot of ways. I'm a huge Cheeto fan, so in the back of my head, I want him to win, but I think it's a tough fight. I think you can't count him out for sure. I mean, either one of them, but definitely not Sean, man. He's proven himself, man.
Mhm.
In that fight, he was injured, so who knows what would have happened. But Sean's there, man. He's real.
I agree with everything you said. I'm with you 100%. I was surprised that there's a new featherweight champion. I didn't see Taporia beating Volk. Did you? Did you think he was going to do what he did?
Uh, no, honestly, no, I didn't. Because Volk's one of those guys you look at, you're like, not untouchable, but just kind of like, he's beat some of the best at featherweight, and so for him to go up to fight 55 short notice title fight and then to lose, that wasn't as big a deal to me because Makachev or what's I just went blank. Yeah, Makachev, isn't it?
Yeah. Were you talking about when he went
Islam.
up to fight 55? Yeah, Islam.
Yeah, Islam. Yeah, when he fought Islam, and I'm like, like you can't hold that against him, like on whatever it's like weak notice or whatever. You can't hold that against him. So, that's just the guy he is. He'll fight anybody. So I think that in his head, he thought he was just gonna smoke Ilya because no one's really tested him, and Ilya hadn't really fought anyone that he's fought. So I think that the Josh Emmett fight was kind of crazy too. But I think that him just not having a big resume in the UFC was kind of like Volk's like saying "fuck you" kind of thing. But the kid's good. Like he's fucking good, man. Like I can't, I can't say enough about him. Like he's a tough dude. He's real.
Yeah, no doubt. What if you were the UFC matchmaker? Who do you think would get the next shot at Taporia?
I think you gotta cancel the BMF fight with Gaethje and Max and give him the fight. And I think that Poirier should get another crack at the BMF title, and I think that should be his final fight. I think that Poirier fighting whatever the guy's name is, I don't even know his fucking name, but he's so good. And I'm like, I don't even want to see Poirier lose. I hope Poirier wins, but that's a tough ass fight.
Yeah,
And for 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 him to like say it's gonna be his potential last fight, I think it should be him and Connor or him and Gaethje.
I agree.
Something like that. I don't like him fighting a up and comer whenever he's not even like thinking title contention. But I think that's his final test of saying like if I can't beat this guy, then I might as well quit. And I think that he's making enough money where he doesn't have that mindset where he needs to fight. So I think that that's why he's fighting this guy. But yeah, tough fight, man.
Yeah, and I actually don't like the fight for Max against Gaethje. I think that's Max
Oh
might be on
no,
the shelf
man.
for a little while too. So, and I want to
Uh,
see Holloway and Taporia. So this really could
yeah,
kind of make the top of the 145 division a little tricky.
I think it ruins the top five because Ilya just beat Josh like it was nothing. Then he beat Volk like it was nothing. And now Max is fighting who has beat other guys in the top 6, 7. He's beat those guys, and now Max is fighting someone that he's probably going to lose to,
Mhm.
and he'll be out for months, or if not retire. And then so that means Josh Emmett's gone, Max is gone, and Volk's gone out of that 145 top five. And you know who do you give it to?
Yeah.
Like, like I don't really know. There's not really anyone there that can just stands out and is like a title fight. So I don't know, man. That's a tough one. But I think Max fighting Gaethje it's a great fan fight, but just for the division, so it's not good.
I 100% agree. Before we transition back to your matchup with Hernandez, look at that lettuce. Look at all the lettuce in the top of your head. It's
Yeah,
looking
boy,
good,
look at
man.
that.
So
Yeah.
what is it like? How happy are you?
It's so funny to me because like I never really knew how much how different it was. Because like normally every day I just hat, hat, hat every time. I haven't touched a hat in like fucking like I don't even know. Like I wear a hat like super randomly. I wear a hat like maybe once every 2 or 3 weeks. So it's kind of weird, but uh it's pretty insane how much the difference it has made. But yeah, man, it's I can't thank them enough, man. Hair time now or now time hair. They're in Turkey, freaking they worked on Francis and they worked on Cowboy and they hit me up and they're like, "Hey, we want to do your hair." And I'm like, "All right, whatever." And so I went up there and got it done, dude. I'm talking like 3 or 4 days where you go there. I went there early. I was there for a wedding after, and I went around the city and like looked at everything. A beautiful place. Istanbul is just awesome. It was really cool. I got to go on the Asian side and the European side, whatever. And I did both. I did this tour. I had a private driver drive me around. We went to all these restaurants. The food's insane. All the mosques are just beautiful. Like the scenery there is just unbelievable. I'm a big Ancient Alien fan, so like to go there and see a lot of the ruins, it was so cool to see in person. And then the hair procedure literally was like I went there, did my blood work, and then the next day I went there early in the morning. I was there for like 4 hours, and they had like 2 or 3 doctors in there, and they were like pulling the hair, putting it in a certain spot, like just over and over. And they had it done in like 4 hours. And I just sit there and watch TV the whole time. And then, it took a couple of days for it to scab up and everything. But then ever since then, it's been growing back like it's normal. It's so
Wow.
weird. But yeah, highly recommend it. And that they're insanely cheap to go there. Like it's such a cool experience, and it was really really cheap. So
Did a lot for your confidence. Do you just feel better about yourself?
shit, man. I've always had like I'm just me. Like I don't really give a shit. Like yeah, I like not wearing a hat. It's nice, and it's funny to see people didn't even recognize me because I don't have a hat on. So it's kind of funny, but as confidence goes, like I got 4 girls with me all the time. They're always giving me crap. Doesn't matter, how much I try to primp up or whatever. They're still giving me shit. So it is what it is. But yeah, it's pretty
All right.
awesome.
Well, it looks good, man. Again, April the 6th, UFC Vegas 90, Alexander Hernandez. Damon, do you think this fight's going to take place on the feet or is this hitting the ground? When you look at it stylistically, what do you think the fans are going to see come fight night?
Man, my pec is healed up 100%. Like a lot of people don't know, but I tore my pec about 95% all the way through right before the Pat Sabatini fight. And luckily I fucking dropped him with the front kick, or I would have been screwed. And so I had that fight, I had the Dan Ige fight, I had, the Billy fight, all that with the tour pec. So it's finally back to like I wouldn't say 100%, but it's basically back to like as good as it could be with the situation. Now I'm wrestling full time now. I'm getting to grapple, do whatever I want now. So it's really cool to have that confidence back in my game. But I've done so much work on my stand up that it's also giving me a good confidence there. So I think it's going to be a banger, hell of a first and second round, and I think one of us is going to come out on top with a big finish. And I like my odds on this one. I like it a lot.
So you think you're just going to kind of wear him down? It's going to be back and forth, and you're going to finish him late second, early third, maybe?
Yeah, I'm gonna come at you. I'm looking for a finish 100%. Like I'm training for a finish. I'm looking for a finish. That's what I want. I want everything. I want to come out there with a big performance. And I know he's gonna be game too. His back's on the wall. And I know that for sure. I know this will be the best version of him for sure. I know I'll be ready to roll.
Can't wait to see it, man. Always great to talk to you, Damon. Again, April the 6th, UFC Vegas 90. Damon Jackson
Yeah.
back in action. Before we do sign off, as always, I want to give you the floor. Anything you want to plug, anyone you want to thank, floor is yours.
Nah, man, I just appreciate everybody's support. I'm be ready to go. This is gonna be a big fight for the fans for sure. And definitely tune in.